Hi everyone, this is Emily Leiphart here for Tailored Expressions, and in today's video I'm featuring 3 cards using products from the Exclusives release. The Ring Around the Words die set was the freebie for March 2022, and it's a fun one. These dies are quite big, around 3 inches in diameter, so you can do a lot with them, including using the words on their own as well as shakers. These scripted words cover a wide range of occasions, especially with the brand new Building Blocks Ring Around editions. If you're like me and adore any and all of the TE sentiment strips and Building Blocks editions, you'll love this one too. I've chosen a range of colors for my 3 cards, and I didn't end up using guava. For the other colors, they're all represented in either cardstock, ink, or both. The first thing I do is snip apart the dies and decide which secondary sentiments I'll be using with each. I decided on Wish You Were Here, Hey, You Are Amazing, and Love You So Much. Of course, you'll be able to mix and match both sets of these sentiments with other large word dies and sentiment strips already in your stash, making them even more versatile. Next, I die cut the Wish ring from Poppy Seed cardstock, the Love ring from Watermelon cardstock, and the Hey ring from Pink Champagne cardstock. I had die cut the Raised Pearson cut plate from Rosewater cardstock for one of my past projects and didn't use it. Here, I decided to try it here with the Love ring. It looks really beautiful, and I think I'm going to add a layer of gold glitter cardstock for some sparkle. As I mentioned before, you could snip these sentiments from the circle and use them on their own, or even repeat them for design variation. After cutting out the Love ring from gold glitter cardstock, here's how the layers look together. I'll set that aside while I work on my next card. Since the Wish ring is in dark Poppy Seed cardstock, I wanted to use all of the brighter colors around it. I used the largest stitched rectangle Stacklets die and cut a panel of Oyster cardstock. Then I used all 3 of the Easy Strips dies to cut strips from all the pinks and gold glitter cardstock. I decide to offset the sentiment in the top third of the card, angling it slightly. I start gluing the various strips, starting with Watermelon. After I finish the bottom section, I use one of the alignment panels to make sure that the strips at the top of the panel are parallel with the bottom section. As you can see, I tried to use a leftover piece, but it wasn't long enough and I ended up having to replace it. One happy accident that occurred here was that when I was playing around with the last few rosewater strips, I strung it through the top of the ring and I decided to incorporate that into the design. When I added the dot over the eye and placed the panel in my paper trimmer, it moved since I didn't allow it to dry long enough. This created a smudge, so I carefully removed the dot and used a mono eraser on the glue residue. I wasn't able to get it all off, but it was enough to add another dot, and this time I made sure it was dry before handling the panel further. To create a background for my third card, I'm using the Squeeze the Day Stencil and Clear combo. This was the freebie for April 2022, and it's one of my all-time favorite freebies. The exclusive release includes a die set for the lemons and sentiments, so I'm definitely going to have to get those. I have a 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece of sugar cube cardstock on my silicone mat, and I've done this so that I can get the whole 6x6 stencil and choose which part of it I want for my card panel once I'm done. I actually started with the second panel, which is the lemons, except I'm not making lemonade this time, since I'm using rosewater, pink champagne, and also watermelon, which I add after blending the leaves in oyster and poppy seed. These are going to be the prettiest peaches. Do you love peaches as much as I do? The season is so short here in Ontario, and we buy a new basket every couple of days because we love them so much. I just love looking at the pretty stenciling when it's done. It makes it hard to cut up, doesn't it? Next, I'm going to stamp the Building Blocks Ring Around editions. First, I'll use Poppy Seed ink on Sugar Cube cardstock. Then I'll use Poppy Seed ink on Rosewater cardstock. Finally, I'll use Sugar Cube ink on Poppy Seed cardstock. For heat embossing, I always use the amazing TE powder tool before stamping. Then I heat set the white embossing powder and use the Building Blocks die to cut out all of these strips. As I start to assemble my 3 cards, I start by trimming down that peachy panel to 4.25 by 5.5 inches. I've also cut the largest Petite Scallop circle stacklets from Vellum, as well as 2 additional layers of the Hey ring from Sugar Cube cardstock. I use glue to stack those, and I glue them to the back of the Vellum panel so that the Vellum is popped off the stencil panel for visual interest and a bit of dimension. Originally, I was only going to add "You are amazing," but then I decided to have a little fun with it and add another little hey above the ring. While I thought about that, I switched back to the wish card where I adhere the panel to a sugar cube card base and pop on the secondary sentiment with foam strips. Now this card is done! I love the offset sentiment, the strip running through the ring, and the addition of the gold glitter strips. For me personally, liquid glue never works when I'm trying to attach something to glitter cardstock. Since I didn't attach a sticky sheet to the back of the watermelon die cut, I had to add another layer, and this time I attached the sticky sheet to the front and back of the sugar cube layer so I could attach it to the watermelon layer and the gold glitter layer. Adding this layer also gives the die a bit more dimension. I attached the raised Pearson cut panel to a poppy seed card base, then glue the love ring to the center. Again, I used foam strips to attach the sentiment strip. While I was looking for white heart embellishments to balance the sentiment strip, I forgot about the bits and pieces hearts from the Like Gnome Other kit. I've linked to those if you're looking for heart embellishments in the TE store. They would have looked super cute here. To finish the last card, I added a second little haze sentiment up top, and I'm going to place these on an angle to increase the fun factor. I almost left off the gold glitter on this card, if you can believe it. I played around with some star die cuts and even gold drip drops, but neither looked right. That's when I decided to add gold glitter shadows to the sentiment strips, and that was the subtle addition this card needed. I used 1/4-inch score tape for this, and since the hay ring already has dimension, I simply added layered strips with more score tape. This time I used a T-ruler to make sure the main sentiment strip was straight. Now my third card is done. I love these soft, beautiful colors. Does anyone else wish they had a dress with this print? Here's a review of all 3 of my cards with variations of the same colors. Each one has a very different design, and I hope you enjoyed all these ideas using the Ring Around the Words dies and Building Blocks Ring Around editions. You can find all of these products in the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.